If you see NASA announce an alien invasion, it's already too late. Follow every step immediately if you want to survive. Trust no one. First, gather your family immediately. Turn off all devices. Every signal, every flicker, every sound can be tracked. If a screen lights up on its own, walk away immediately. It's no longer yours. Second, lock all doors, all windows, even the tiniest crack. We can't stop them. We can only delay them. Reinforce your walls if possible. Don't leave a single gap. Third, don't respond to voices outside. They mimic you perfectly. If you hear your mother, your partner, make sure they're really with you. If you hesitate, you've already let them in. Ignore the pleas. Ignore the cries. Fourth, don't look at the sky. The silent lights are not stars. If you follow them, they will follow you. Darkness is your ally. Move stealthily. Hide. Wait. Reports say the first cities to fall will be in the United States. Remember, when NASA speaks, the invasion has begun. America will be the warning, not the shield. Every decision is now a matter of life or death.
One of the most demonic shows on TV was I Love Lucy.
Wow.
I Love Lucy with Ricky Ricardo with Santero, straight from Cuba. And Ricky Ricardo used to sing the song, Babalua Ye. And we used to sing that song like it was like, you know, it was like salsa night. And Babalua Ye is the principality. And we usher the devil into our house by singing the song, because whatever you chant to becomes your God.
See, remember, that's coming from an ex-high priest Satanist that's telling you that because they do hidden things in TV shows to get you to fall into their demonic tricks. And if you stand against demonic, say, I stand against the demonic today, and subscribe or follow for more Jesus content like this.
It's not bacon, it's not butter, and it's definitely not red meat. The most dangerous thing for your heart is anything related to decreasing nitric oxide. Low levels will increase your risk for a heart attack. Number one are foods that increase insulin resistance. That's refined sugars, refined starches, and seed oils. Number two is smoking. Number three, which might be surprising, is mouthwash. Mouthwash kills the bacteria in your mouth that helps you make nitric oxide. Consume these foods to increase your nitric oxide. Arugula, beets, dark chocolate, citrus fruits, garlic, pomegranate seeds, and fermented foods like kimchi and sauerkraut.
Can we really brainwash people? Can we create Manchurian candidates? Can we split people's personalities? It involved a lot of former Nazi scientists and involved a lot of LSD and dosing people with massive, massive doses of LSD. And it was called super spy. These women would lure these men back to the hotel and drug them with LSD. We had like Project Stargate, like the Men Who Stare at Goats movie, and remote viewing and all this other stuff was going on. Then they started MK Ultra, which involved a lot of former Nazi scientists and involved a lot of LSD and dosing people with massive, massive doses of LSD and ruining a lot of people's lives in the process. But it was an attempt initially to find some kind of a truth serum. And actually the Navy participated in the biggest one, which was called Project Chatter, which is a sub-project of MK Ultra. And with this guy, he's a professor at, it's in Hamilton, New York. I can't remember the name of the Colgate University. His name's Dr. George Estabrooks. And he and J. Edgar Hoover are collaborating on a plan to use hypnosis to capture and hypnotize a German submarine captain and give him alter identities, and send him back to his fleet in Germany and have him torpedo the entire German fleet inside the harbor.
This looks to be like it's throwing a wrench in the gears in the official story of how Earth came to be and what the timeline of events was. They say if the news is fake, imagine how bad history is. Well, these guys are finding seashells and all kinds of stuff, which people find seashells all the time that are old. Except they're at the top of a mountain. And that means this mountain was under an ocean at one point. But how long ago? According to official sources, about 3 billion years ago. Do these look like 3 billion-year-old shells? Let me know.
And I'm just going to put this out there. We have been completely lied to about the nature of our reality in general. I mean, they'll tell you this is formed from magma. We really are in the remnants of an ancient civilization and ancient different freaking biome in this world, man. Gigantic trees that were silicon-based. You can't tell me this is freaking magma. And in this one, let me just say, there's ancient texts talking about trees that reach the freaking top of this world we live in, man. Look at the hexagonal structures of plants compared to the hexagonal structure of some of these rock formations they found, which they literally say, by the way, is magma and erosion. So you're telling me magma makes perfect hexagons, but yet if you type in magma that has cooled and you look at some videos, pictures of it, it literally is all over the place. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Who knows exactly what's going on here?
This had to be the bottom of the ocean, or at least a beach at one time, for a while. So it wasn't just a flood. Like, this was actual water on top of these.
When I realized the true currency of this world is humans, and I mean that literally, I started flipping stones. I left nobody untouched, okay? If they were on the stage, I was digging in there. UMG and Endeavor Group. Yeah, big players. Huge. Look into them.
Both of the world wars were really just to erase the old world.
Hear him out, it makes
There
sense.
was an entire narrative scripted around who the bad guys were, who the allies are, and it was really meant to just destroy all of these beautiful cities. They took out all of the bells, if you guys haven't looked into why there would be bells in public spaces.
No more bells.
And the healing properties and the harmonious properties that these churches had.
I haven't seen a bell in years.
Was built in. Okay, it's sacred geometry, and it's not unrealistic that they started 2 world wars and put, at the time, our best men in every single country lined up across each other because they wanted to take out the most brave and quote-unquote prestigious men for every country.
Now this is one I've speculated on for some years. I'm by heritage a Jew. I feel like there's a lot more evidence that the narrative was not what they say the narrative was than there's evidence that it was along the lines of what they say it was. I mean, there's been entire books written on, you know, how the situation may not be what they made it out to be. That's the best way I can put it without getting kicked on TikTok. Along with everything else in history, I feel like it's definitely very manipulated narratives. Some things are along the lines of what they say, but, you know, not quite. And some things are just the total opposite, or just it didn't exist at all, you know. Just
these beings have been here since the start, manipulating us, feeding off our fear, stress, and anxiety. And that light tunnel and near-death experiences, it's bait. It wipes your memories, sends you back to Earth, and bam, you're stuck in the same cycle. Karma, soul growth, lies to keep you compliant. Tesla said it. Energy, frequency, vibration. They engineered this world to keep us in a low energy state, miserable and controllable. Look around. Wars, greed, chaos. Perfect feeding ground. The question remains, how do we escape, if we even can?
So they're interrogating this guy from Antarctica.
Agarthia.
So what is he saying? That they got their knowledge from ancient Egypt?
That's exactly what he's saying. He said that these people were understanders of universal truths, right? Medicine, geometry, celestial anatomy. Okay, truths which these men, the Ankarim, used to establish harmony, right? And willingly taught to travelers to spread the knowledge along with their good intent. But certain science was hidden because they knew in the wrong hands, right? Men with the darkest of intentions, or what they called Isfed, the deity of chaos, right? These understandings could be used to invoke global deception, okay? Or what was warned of in the Book of Thoth as eternal night. Look, he talked about the Emerald Tablets, okay? He mentioned the Book of Thoth. He spoke of all these ancient bodies of knowledge which were essentially taught to his people. He said that when Egypt fell, right around 1500 BC, that they'd given their most precious scientific understandings to them to keep it protected. He goes, they never documented any interactions with my people because they wanted to keep us safe. But they told us that eventually you'd come. And he goes, you didn't capture me. This isn't an interrogation. It's a warning from us.
Earth isn't just some random blue marble. It's a trap. The reincarnation cycle, that's not spiritual evolution. It's a system. Astral beings, call them reptilians, archons, whatever, are harvesting our energy. Myths worldwide talk about serpent-like gods. Hinduism has the Nagas. The Aztecs worshipped Quetzalcoatl. The Hopi had the Shetty. Even African shamans talk about Chitauri.
So, this is what you've done with our gift. Eons ago, we descended, not from the heavens you worship, but from the dark between stars. My name, Enki, though your scribes twisted it with clay and prayer. To you, I was God, but I was scientist, engineer, exile, one of the last of the Anunnaki who shaped this rock into something worth watching. You were not meant to worship. You were meant to evolve. We carved your genome like scripture, wrote brilliance into your bones, resilience into your blood. We gave you fire not from flint, but from fusion. Language not to pray, but to question. And in the deep shadows of Sumer, beneath ziggurats now buried in silence, I told you, build, think, remember. But what did you do? You built systems to enslave each other. You traded wisdom for convenience. You called your ignorance faith, your greed progress. You mine your own planet to death and feed your children poison made pretty. You look to the skies for angels, not knowing the ones you already met have long turned their faces. We watched. We waited. I pleaded with the others, exasperated. Give them more time, I said. They're still climbing, but they only saw the smoke from your wars, the filth in your oceans, the flickering arrogance of your towers. Now the silence breaks again. We are returning, not as saviors, not as wrath, but as judgment. When I stand among you once more, I will not come with thunder or fire. I will speak. And in that moment, you will remember who you were meant to be, or you will drown in the flood of your own forgotten potential. I was your beginning. Now, I ask only one thing. Sirius, are you still worthy of your breath?
I am in control of my life. Because I am capable of powerful, positive change. I rise above all challenges and move ahead now in all ways with flowing.
What you doing? I'm staying right here. Are you just waiting for Daddy to come home? Okay. Mommy, can you bring Dad over there and watch for Daddy? You want Mommy to sit with you?
So you're really gonna tell me there wasn't a giant world before us? So what about all these giant mushrooms? And I know some are gonna say it's just a coincidence and it's just probably a rock formation that just looks like a mushroom. But I gotta tell you, that's a giant mushroom, and there's a lot of people out there that'll agree with me. And in my opinion, at one time there was a giant world, there was giant people, giant animals, giant plants. And why that part of our history does not want to be acknowledged by science. It's not a mystery, it's more of a letdown to humanity.
This looks to be like it's throwing a wrench in the gears in the official story of how Earth came to be and what the timeline of events was. They say if the news is fake, imagine how bad history is. Well, these guys are finding seashells and all kinds of stuff, which people find seashells all the time that are old. Except they're at the top of a mountain. And that means this mountain was under an ocean at one point. But how long ago? According to official sources, about 3 billion years ago. Do these look like 3 billion-year-old shells? Let me know.
And I'm just going to put this out there. We have been completely lied to about the nature of our reality in general. I mean, they'll tell you this is formed from magma. We really are in the remnants of an ancient civilization and ancient different freaking biome in this world, man. Gigantic trees that were silicon-based. You can't tell me this is freaking magma. And in this one, let me just say, there's ancient texts talking about trees that reach the freaking top of this world we live in, man. Look at the hexagonal structures of plants compared to the hexagonal structure of some of these rock formations they found, which they literally say, by the way, is magma and erosion. So you're telling me magma makes perfect hexagons, but yet if you type in magma that has cooled and you look at some videos, pictures of it, it literally is all over the place. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Who knows exactly what's going on here?
This had to be the bottom of the ocean or at least a beach at one time for a while. So it wasn't just a flood. Like, this was actual water on top of these mountains.
This has got to be the most unbelievable archaeological find ever made, and to this day there are still no records of who built this or how. It was found near a village along the Q River of eastern China, a quaint little farming town with beautiful rolling hills. One of the mountains in the region was home to a series of very interesting rectangular shaped ponds that were unlike any other in the country. For as long as anyone in the village can remember, these ponds supplied them with water for ages. Generations upon generations would use the ponds as a fresh water supply, and they would never run dry or even recede over time. They almost seemed to be a source of infinite water. They became known as the bottomless ponds, and villagers even attempted on many occasions to measure how deep they are, using the longest bamboo poles they could find, yet they could never ever touch the bottom. Then in the summer of 1992, a local villager was fishing in one of the ponds when he caught a massive 30-pounder, which was way bigger than what anyone else had ever caught in these ponds. Intrigued by this discovery, the villager made it his mission to get to the bottom of this mystery. So he convinced 3 other villagers to help him drain one of the ponds entirely, which was an ambitious project by any means. They get a hold of a basic manual water pump and get to work continuously pumping the water out of one of the ponds day and night in shifts. After 5 days of non-stop pumping, the water level had only dropped a couple feet, but they made their first earth-shattering discovery. Just below the surface of the water, on the far side of the pond, they see a set of stairs going down into the bottom of the pond. This was clearly huge. Excited, they get 4 more water pumps and rallied a few more villagers to help their cause and continued pumping non-stop for 17 more days. And they did it. They drained the entire pond, and what they found shocked not only the village, but the entire world as well. They were looking directly into an ancient man-made subterranean complex that completely defied their entire understanding of history. These are the Long U Caves, crafted with perfectly flat floors, enormous rooms, grand pillars, and even intricate art carved into its walls. The entire excavation revealed 24 caves in a massive underground network, 14 of which were collapsed, but the 10 that stood were just unexplainable, indicating a level of sophisticated precision in making these caves that totally rewrote conventional ancient Chinese history as they knew it. The walls had finely carved patterns, a level of detail typically achieved by only the most advanced artisans, and were even found on the ceilings, which would have been even harder to pull off, which in some areas would stand up to 10 stories tall, with a total area spanning 11,000 square feet across all the caves, with no evidence of soot or burn marks anywhere on the walls or ceilings, implying they either did all of this in complete darkness or using some lighting method we're not aware of. Not to mention, some of these caves didn't even connect with each other, yet were perfectly chiseled with walls less than 50 centimeters thick separating them. This level of precision is borderline impossible for its time. Once again, an ancient structure so impressive that it almost seems like they had some form of advanced technology that was either lost or suppressed over time. If it even was possible with the technology available at the time, it's estimated a project like this would have taken centuries to finish. Current estimates put it at around 2,000 years old, yet there are no records of these caves anywhere in ancient Chinese history. Just like the Egyptians, the ancient Chinese were meticulous record keepers of everything they did, yet not a single account of this engineering marvel of a complex found anywhere among them.
Can we visit this today?
It seems to be a trend among ancient cultures to make epic shit and just never write about them for some reason. There isn't even any evidence of the people who could have built these caves. On top of that, this complex would have required the removal of millions of tons of stone, which is nowhere to be found. Such a monumental quantity of rock would have left a huge impact on the surrounding landscape, yet the region around the cave has nothing. But overall, China is no stranger to caves like these. 100 miles north, we see the Huashan Grottos, another network of 36 caves with a similar sophistication as Long U. Despite being a project that would have also taken centuries to complete, there are also no records of who built them, how they were built, or for what purpose. They're just there. And just as mysteriously, the millions of tons of rock removed from the subterranean network are nowhere to be found. Maybe they were transported and used in other projects, like the mythical Great White Pyramid they so closely guard. Same with the Guyaju Caves, China's largest cliff-dwelling complex composed of 117 caves, discovered in 1984, sprawling over 25 acres, more than 1 million square feet. These are made out of granite, which we know is very hard and very difficult to carve, so we can't even begin to imagine how they did any of this. All of these caves lack significant datable archaeological evidence, and have very few, if any, historical records of their construction. Isn't it kind of weird that a civilization known for its meticulous record keeping has no surviving records of arguably its most impressive feats? We really have no idea how...
It's locked in the Vatican, 100%. What did they say the name of this cave was? But I guarantee you the Vatican has some archives on it.
how old any of these are. Common estimates putting them around 2,000 years old, but we really have no way of accurately dating rocks. And it doesn't end with caves. Ancient China is home to some of the most amazing understudied monuments in the world, like the impressive Haijin city fortress carved directly into the side of a mountain gorge. An absolute marvel of ancient engineering with an intricate network of tunnels and dwellings inside, all heavily eroded from time. And of course, the centerpiece massive 30-foot entrance carved into the canyon wall, which would have clearly been difficult to make. This fortress once again has very little historic records to show where it came from. The theory proposed by historians was that local farmers of the region with no knowledge of stonework constructed this fortress to protect themselves against bandits. Yeah, and others will probably try to convince you it was naturally formed. I mean, if this isn't clear evidence of some lost civilization, I don't know what is. Well, what if it isn't a lost civilization because they actually found it? In 1986, construction workers near the city of Guanghan accidentally discovered 2 pits filled with thousands of artifacts that belonged to a civilization that we have absolutely no record of other than these relics, totaling around 13,000 artifacts of gold and bronze statues, figurines, masks, some even made out of jade, others up to 5 feet wide and 9 feet tall, which became known as the Sanshandui people, who featured distinct large eyes and big ears that kinda... Okay, no, I'm not going there. Strangely though, these aren't similar to any other...
What? Look, reptilian? Did we find the Draco Reptilian Empire home base?
Ancient Chinese culture that came after or before them, and many of these artifacts were burned and heavily damaged when they found them, almost like they've been intentionally hidden and buried, or perhaps scorched by a global cataclysm. The Sanshandui artifacts have been officially dated to as far back as 5,000 years old. That's as old as the Sumerians and the earliest Old Kingdom Egyptian empires that ever existed. Did this society exist far before our known timeline? Build all of these incredible complexes and for whatever reason get erased from history? The dawn of civilization from an unknown society found in China? Man, this really just keeps on getting older.
Oh my god, did you see that?
You're probably on your phone too much, so here are some stats. So the Philippines consistently ranks the highest in screen time with an average of 10 hours per day, with Brazil and Thailand coming in second and third right afterwards with about 9, and Japan is the lowest with about 4.5. Men generally spend 10% more time online than women, likely due to men's interest in gaming, which adds that additional percent, though women consistently spend more time on social media and online retailers. 90% of screen time is spent on the mobile phone for the younger generations, though for millennials and greater, TV becomes disproportionately more prevalent. Generationally, 13 to 18-year-olds spend the most time on phones at 7.5 hours per day, with 18 to 24-year-olds spending 6.5 hours, and under 13-year-olds spending 5 hours. The silent generation predictably has the lowest at 2 hours and 30 minutes. Screen time has doubled in just the last 15 years, and has gone up 75% since the pandemic. 50% of infants are even using their phones, and 50% of people reportedly wake up in the middle of the night to check their phones. And finally, most people pick up their phones an average of 200 times per day. So maybe put it down. Explain.
Did you hear that?
I hear it.
Going good? Alright, Jake, you go to bed now? Alright. Got this nice bottle of boiling water to keep my sleeping bag warm, but I'm not quite ready to go to bed, so I'm just gonna put it right there. On that note, I think I'm gonna get my...